Hi everybody. Now in this video we are going to discuss about the excretory products and their elimination. This is the second class from this chapter, excretory products and their elimination. So in this video we are going to discuss about the human excretory system. Human excretory system. So here we are going to discuss about our own kidneys, how they are involved in eliminating the nitrogenous metabolic waste, that which we are calling it as the excretion. Okay, we are calling it as the excretion. So we should remember now, excretion means removal of the nitrogenous metabolic waste. Removal of the nitrogenous metabolic waste. So we are going to now discuss in this video about the human excretory system. Human excretory system. Now if you are seeing here, we can see the human excretory system. Okay, here this is the human excretory system, which is mainly composed of what? Kidneys, we say. Okay, human excretory system is mainly composed of complex tubular structures, which are called as what? Involving or including the kidneys. So here if you are looking into this diagram, we can see that there are in the human excretory system that there are a pair of kidneys. Okay, there are a pair of kidneys. Okay, there are a pair of kidneys. So the first point we have to remember is that there are a pair of kidneys. Okay, a pair of kidneys are present in the human excretory system, and there is one pair of ureter tubes. See here, if you are seeing one, this is the tube that is running from each kidney. Okay, so one from one kidney, that is the ureter, and another tube from another kidney, that is another ureter. So one pair of the ureters are present. One pair of ureters are present, we say. So this is the second part of the excretory system in the human beings. So first one, what we said, a pair of kidneys are present, we said, and the second one is a pair of ureters are present. Okay, a pair of ureters, one from each kidney. There is a tube that is coming out or that is arising, that we are calling it as the ureter. So both the ureters, one from each kidney, they will be coming and entering into a bladder. Okay, they will be entering into a small sac-like structure that is called as the urinary bladder. So this is the third part of the human excretory system. And here this urinary bladder is now having a small opening, of course, which is the small opening which we are calling it as what? The urethra. Okay, this is the fourth part of the human excretory system. So here in the human excretory system, here we are seeing that there are four parts. Okay, four parts. A pair of kidneys that are there present, a pair of ureters are present, and there is a urinary bladder and a small opening that we are calling it as the urethra. Okay, these are all about the parts of the human excretory system. But apart from the parts of the excretory system, if we are seeing very clearly in this diagram, we are seeing that on top of each kidney, there is a gland which we already studied in the previous chapter, called as what? The adrenal gland. Okay, adrenal gland, which is an endocrine gland producing different types of hormones, which we studied in the previous chapter. So on both the kidneys there are cap-like structures which are called as what? The adrenal glands. Okay, adrenal, one on each kidney. Okay, one on each kidney they are there. And here if you are seeing that there are two blood vessels. There are two blood vessels which are entering and leaving the kidneys. What are those two blood vessels? If you are seeing that, they are called as inferior vena cava and the dorsal aorta. See here, this is the inferior vena cava. Okay, this is the one blood vessel that is entering now. Okay, that is related to the entry and exit into the kidneys now. So inferior vena cava, and also there is another one called as the dorsal aorta. So here if you are seeing, the inferior vena cava is branched into two branches. One branch of the inferior vena cava enters into one kidney, another branch will be entering into another kidney now. In the same way, even the dorsal aorta also will be entering one branch into one kidney and another branch into another kidney. So here we have to remember that inferior vena cava and dorsal aorta, the blood vessels, they are branched and into two branches, and each branch of each of these blood vessels enters into each kidney now. And those branches which are entering into the kidneys are called as what now? The renal artery and renal vein. Renal vein is the blood vessel that is formed as two branches from what? From the inferior vena cava. The inferior vena cava divides into two branches, and these two branches are called as the renal vein, renal veins. One renal vein enter into one kidney and another renal vein will enter into another kidney. In the same way, even the dorsal aorta divides into two branches. Each branch will be called as renal artery. One renal artery will be entering into one kidney. Another renal artery will be entering into another kidney. So here, that's the point we have to remember here now. Renal vein and renal artery, we are saying renal vein and renal artery. And now here, if you are seeing the LS, okay, of the kidney, okay, we'll be discussing about it in a very detailed way, of course, but here in the diagram as it is shown, if you are seeing in the LS of the kidney, longitudinal section cutting of the kidney, you are seeing two major parts. One is called as the cortex. The outermost part is called as the cortex. This part which I am thickening, this part of the kidney is called as the cortex, okay, this part, outer part. When you are taking the cutting, okay, say suppose if this is the section cutting, the outer part means this part will be called as what now? The cortex region. And the center part, okay, the middle part of the kidney, all this part will be called as the medulla, okay. So here we can say that this is the cortex and this part is called as the medulla. So when we are taking the longitudinal section of the kidney, there are two regions which we can see very clearly. The outer part, peripheral part is called as the cortex, okay, and the inner part or the center part is called as the medulla. And here we are also seeing that there is a broad part which we are going to discuss. Okay, there is a broad part called as the pelvis. Okay, broad part which is called as the pelvis. So here it is clear now that in the human excretory system that there are a pair of kidneys, then a pair of ureters, one pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra, which are the major parts, and into the kidneys there is inferior vena cava which is entering in, which is divided into two branches, and also dorsal aorta is also entering, which is divided into two branches. Branches which are formed from the inferior vena cava, we are calling it as renal veins. Branches which are formed from the dorsal aorta are called as the renal arteries, we are calling it as. So here, keeping this image or these parts in our mind now let us discuss about the LS of the human kidney. LS of the human kidney. So before that, we will now look at what is the color, what is the shape, where are these kidneys present in our body, okay, what is the size of these kidneys, what is the weight of the kidneys, what are these two parts contained which we have called them as cortex and medulla. We are going to discuss now in this video. In this video we are going to now discuss about those parts.